How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the 1UP FBA Wholesale channel here on YouTube. My name is Mike. I'm a multi-seven-figure Amazon FBA wholesale seller. In this video, I'm going to walk you step by step through what that very first purchase order with a supplier or distributor really looks like. We're going to cover some common misconceptions and really kind of get into the right mindset of how to further these relationships by placing that first order with any type of company. By the end of this video, you're going to have a really good idea of what we need to look for on that initial order, some supplier green flags, and what the first order is all about. So let's dive right into it. So the first thing when it comes to placing an order with a supplier is we need to really understand what that first order is. The best way I can explain this is it is a two-way street of a vetting process. The supplier is giving you a lower minimum order quantity that they're probably not making hardly any money on. Maybe the supplier is even breaking even at a $1,000 order, but they are basically opening the doors to new clientele to see, hey, is this a potential client that we see a future relationship with? They want to essentially have you come back and place a $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 order. At the same time, we are doing our due diligence in vetting that supplier. How quickly did they prepare our merchandise for pickup? Did they actually ship us what we ordered initially on that purchase order? Did they try to charge us double or triple price on just the shipping, which would be unnecessary? So that first order is really the supplier doing their due diligence for our company, and we're also doing our due diligence for them. So this brings us into part number 2. One of the most important things to consider here, the very first order with the supplier, we're not trying to make a whole lot of money. It's not uncommon that you may break even or make a very small percentage on these products in the beginning, especially if it's a $1,000 or $1,500 order. We are just trying to open the door, start that relationship, and start to buy some product from that company to show them we are serious, we will pay on time, and we're a good company to work with. The wholesale business gets increasingly more profitable as we build rapport with our sales reps, continue to place purchase order number 3, number 5, number 10, and that's where we can slowly start to kind of chip away at very specific items that we buy from that company and say, hey, could we get $1.50 off on this unit? Could we get 75 cents off a unit over here? That's why the long game in wholesale becomes increasingly more profitable, and that's where you start to see those ideal 25, 30, 35% ROIs on our replenishable, fast-selling products from that company. So now that we kind of understand really what this first purchase order is all about, we have to at least hit that minimum order quantity. And I find this all the time with students where they will say, Mike, it looks like they have good product, nothing is really profitable, I feel like I can't even hit the minimum order quantity. So one of the tips I have for you guys is to consider selling on higher average sale price listings. Now the way we're going to do that is by trying to find multi-packs, bundles, case pack listings. This will be significantly easier for us to hit those initial minimum order quantities, knowing that most of these items are going to be somewhat of a break even or a very low profit margin. So the best way to do that is selling on those 6-pack, case pack listings, the 3-packs. We don't have to sell as many units on Amazon's platform, but we can also hit the minimum from the supplier, right? The last thing we want to do is try to hit the minimum by buying 1,000 units of a $1 product and trying to sell that for $5.99 on Amazon. So let's talk about some of the most important things we need to have established before we start trying to work through the process of placing that first purchase order. We need to understand companies want to work with prepared sellers. It's typically not so much that they care we sell the product on Amazon. It's that like rookie and newer Amazon sellers, they're not prepared. They're asking for prep on these products. They're asking for 30% discounts on the initial $1,000 order. The best way I can explain this is we do not want to become a chore for that supplier. The supplier cannot run our business. And this is why it's so important to do your homework up front. Before we start trying to place an order and speaking back and forth with a sales rep, we should be doing some research on Amazon by looking at the supplier website or the catalog they provided and doing some research on what brands ideally are we looking to purchase. Can we find some listings that it looks like they have in stock and we know exactly how many cases of product we are looking to order? We need to come into this initial purchase order as prepared as possible and make it very easy for them to work with us as a company. One of the reasons I find suppliers kind of shy away from working with Amazon sellers is exactly that. They're unprepared, they don't know what product they want, they're calling 30 times is the product ready, is the product ready? We don't need to be doing that on an initial $1,000 order, or honestly at all. We want to be as prepared as possible. That brings me into my last point, is we need to have a game plan for what we're doing with these products. If they require prep, we need to have an established relationship with a prep center, and we should also consider having a relationship with maybe a sales rep at a freight broker company like FreightQuote. Why this is important: we want to take care of the business that we can take care of. If a supplier pulls your order and they say, hey, it's 2 pallets, 1,500 pounds, 750 pounds per pallet, can you have a truck come get it? We do not want to be in a scenario where we're like, I don't understand how to do that. We want to have these relationships set up. If you work with a company like FreightQuote, you can provide them the pickup address, the delivery address, and the weight and dimensions of these pallets. FreightQuote will provide you a quote and an estimated pickup day. They will also provide a bill of lading, which will be emailed to us, and we're going to forward it to that supplier. That is how you properly handle a freight pickup. Now, with all of these things considered, let's just do a brief recap of what we don't want to do in the beginning. So, as a quick reminder, the worst thing you could do is basically start the relationship, say, I'm an Amazon seller, I want a UPC code. You go to place that $1,000 order and you're asking for 30% off the top. Oftentimes, that is actually below the supplier's cost. We have to remember that initial order is them opening the door and giving us an opportunity. They're making little to no money on a $1,000 order. It is simply just that company allowing us to potentially build a relationship with them. And in doing so, we can't expect to be making these big 30, 40% ROIs on these products. After coaching hundreds of Amazon sellers with the wholesale business, I find so many new sellers in wholesale, they go in this basically cyclical loop, for lack of a better term, where they feel like they can't make money on that initial $1,000 order, so they start looking at a different company just to go down the same rabbit hole, no profit on the initial order, and then they're going on to company 3, 4, 5, 6, and they say, Mike, I got all these companies, but none of them are profitable. So what we have to consider is it's simply not going to be very profitable in the beginning. That's how this business works. Until we start to provide a lot of value, placing a $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 order with these companies, they quite literally do not have the room to give us any lower pricing on these products. Maybe they're making $150 on our $1,000 order. We have to consider they have to pay for overhead, they have to pay for the warehouse people, the sales people, the guy or gal answering the phone. They're a large company with a lot of expenses, and this is why there's not a whole lot of money to make in the beginning. The best items you can order in the beginning are going to be items that move quickly on Amazon. If we can have a net break even on these products with that initial $1,000 or $1,500 order, that is a good indication that with some established relationship and with some future discounts, we might have access to some really fast selling product, and we can slowly start to increase the margin on those sales. The whole goal with wholesale is to have a replenishable catalog where we call up a supplier and we reorder and repeat. So with this information in mind, I encourage you guys to look back into your supplier catalogs if you have not placed that initial order. Consider that the first order is not going to be super profitable, and see if you can make some progress and kind of work your way into those relationships. If you're looking for dedicated help within the wholesale business, I recommend click the link in the description. That will take you to an application to our A to Z wholesale training program. I'll hop on a call directly with you, see if it's a good fit, and if it is, we'll get you enrolled and get you on a coaching call right away. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.